Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to Blender Synth, the second video of the day. And we're going to actually physically get started with Blender this time. So, where I left off in the last video was this here, the terminal. You'll see that, if you watch YouTube videos, a lot of people, or most people are on Windows, and they have people go up here to window and they tell them to show a window that's similar to this, but on Windows. This is a terminal for Mac. A lot of people don't know how to pull that up because normally you can't pull that up on Mac. I'll make my Blender look like you guys's, and I'll try to go through my menus slower. Normally my pie menus and stuff, I fly right through them and you don't even notice them coming up, but I'll do it slower so you guys can follow along. But anyway, like I was saying, what was I saying? Something about this here. See what happens when I digress. Oh, how to get that up. But this window basically is for troubleshooting, even on Windows. Other than that, I really don't use it a lot. It tells you, when something's messing up or when something's not loading correctly and stuff. You can see there's a lot of trim sheets for decal machine that are, I'm on 3.0. I'm on Blender 3.0, so it's having problems with that. But you can see I got, a whole bunch of trim sheet libraries that aren't loaded. Although trim sheet 110 and example and in place did load, but all the other ones, 1, 11, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of them didn't load. And that's just for those of you who don't have decal machine, that's these here. You could pick a trim sheet, to put down like that. Well, that wasn't a trim sheet, but these here are trim sheets. And why did that pop up? Oh, did I pick it? I don't know how that popped up. I must have picked it. But anyway, you can see here's the in place, trim sheet 10, trim sheet, and over here is the example sheet. And, there should be a bunch of more coming up. But this window over here tells you, that you have a problem loading them. And I'll look in, I don't really use trim sheets a lot, but when I get free time or I'm not doing anything, I'll look into that. What I do use is the actual trim, the actual panels here. These that I do use. I don't really use the trim sheets all that much, but anyway, we'll get into that. But I told you guys in the last video that we're going to go over everything in Blender one by one, and that's because even if you don't get paid add-ons and stuff, there's plenty of free add-ons out there that you can get for free. And this is going to be the same thing with both free and paid. Things don't operate like they should all the time. And, this will lead, if you're not, if you didn't learn correctly, if you learn from YouTube, this leads you into, you watch a video on YouTube, and the person teaching you, their video goes along just perfect with no hitch, no problems, everything works, the add-on works and stuff. And then you get it and you try it and something's not working. So you end up hitting the chat, hitting Google and hitting the chat forums and Discord if you go to Discords and stuff, and asking questions on why is this not working, why is this not working and everything. And, these are, I understand you're starting out, but these are things, if you understand how Blender works, if you understand how everything is supposed to, operate and everything, when you see problems that aren't working, that means you know how they're supposed to work. Like when you do a bevel, or when you do a cut or something like that, or when you do a mirror, everything that's involved with a mirror and all that stuff. And so when something about that mirror is not working, then you understand what's happening and you know where to go to try to fix it. And I'm going to give you guys an example here. I'm going to add in a cube here. And see these corners right here? That's not on yours. Your corners probably don't look like that. Let me zoom in closer here. You see how that white, nice and sharp and crisp corner is? Yours probably don't look like that. Yours probably, with this cavity turned off, that's how your cube probably looks when you put it in. Kind of boring. You know, you can tell there's a corner there, but don't really show up. And that's what this cavity right here does. This cavity turns that on. Now, I told you guys I got machine tools, and that's where this menu here comes from. Shading and overlays, which is where we were at right in here. And you see that cavity is not turned on here. And look at this, look at the numbers here, 1 and 200. But when we go over here to this cavity, it shows 1,000 and 1,000, or 1 and 1. But HardOps also has a setting to turn this on and off. We can go into here and you can see HardOps has it. Now HardOps has it turned on, just like it's turned on up here. So let's turn it off in this one. Then go back to HardOps, and we can see it's off in HardOps. Then when we open Machine Tools, we can see, oh, I got to select it. We can see that's off. Now let's turn this one on. And you're, okay, what's not working here? There. See, that was one thing. You know, how come it didn't work the first time? You know, like I said, that's could be my system. It could be, you know, and like I said, you're watching YouTube videos, and your computer might not operate the exact same as the person on the YouTube video. You know, so these are things you got to remember when what you're doing is not matching what the person in a YouTube. Even though you're using the same tools, the same add-on, you could be following that person exactly to the T. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not doing anything wrong at all. But the add-on doesn't work, or what you're doing is not working. And it's probably your system or another program on your system that's interfering with that particular command or routing. Won't get into the operating, you know, mechanics of it all, but it could be anything. And this is what troubleshooting is. This is what happens in the real world, you know, when you're on a job and, you know, when you're doing stuff. Even when you're working for another company, you know, they have a support problem that takes care of this. But this is what happens. Now, when you know how this cavity works and what it is, it's easier to troubleshoot this instead of, you know, hitting people up in the forum that might not use cavity and don't really understand how it works and stuff like that. But let's do a little bit of troubleshooting. Let's open it up. We got cavity. We got the 1 and 200 here. Well, if you hover over this, you can see cavity valleys. And you see the distance and cavity edge effect. Okay. Well, what does this have up here? This has got cavity. Oh, wait. You see it's got world there. So where's world here? There is no world here. Okay. And what happened is when we turned this one on, this one must default to world. Because this, watch my cube right here. See how all the shading right here is? It doesn't look exactly like it did when I originally showed you. But when we go back up here, cavity, what we got to do is we got to click this down top here and go to screen. And now you see that's what we had. And if you look at the settings up here, for the cavity, you can see that it's set to curvature ridges, and there's the valley. So we have ridges and valley here, but in this one up here, we got valley and distance. And you notice that this white line wasn't as sharp as that. The white line was kind of like faded, going down or going in to the face here. And this is what happens. This is the same exact setting. Just this one doesn't line up with a default cavity or the one that's in HardOps. And you see, HardOps doesn't have a setting here either. You know, it just has the check mark to turn it on and turn it off. That's it. If you want to change these settings up here, you got to go up into this one here to change your valley and ridge settings, and to change this here, world screen in both, and all that stuff. But we'll get it, and I'll cover that later. But this is one of the things that I wanted to tell you, because a lot of people did this in a Discord channel for HardOps. Because Josh Campbell and Rui both do videos, a lot of tutorial videos, and their models look like this. This is how they have their cavity set up. And there's a lot of questions all the time when new people come into the Discord channel asking, how do you get this look? You know, like that. Well, and a lot of times both Josh and Rui will, recommend people download machine tools. Well, when they download machine tools and they see this cavity setting in here, they're going to set it and they're going to get that look, and it's not going to look like the way it does on, Rui and Josh's videos, and they're confused because they don't know what's happening. And if you know how it's working, you can see how sharp, like I said, you can see how sharp this is. But if you're going to use this one, when you turn it on, you can see that you get like a small gradient right here around the edges that go inward, which is about 0.200. And once you see that and everything, you realize, well, first of all, you wouldn't be asking, you wouldn't be asking in the Discord, how do you get this effect? Because you'd know how to. All you gotta do is come up here and turn cavity on. When you see this in a YouTube video, you're like, oh, okay, someone's got, they're using cavity. That's what they're doing there. And this is why we're not really going to, make a scene or make anything or do it. That's going to be later on down the road. We are going to learn what all the tools do and how to operate them and each setting in them, all the modifiers, all the physics and everything. And we're going to learn how to do this stuff on our own. And this is going to be helpful for those of you that might not be here to make money with Blender and might not need to be getting projects done quickly or on time, or you're up against a deadline. You're just here for the hobby. You want to be a 3D artist or whatever, or this is just a hobby for you to pass the time. Especially since we're in COVID and stuff, and people got nothing better to do except sit at home and pass the time. And this, if that's what you're going to do is pass the time, and you want to get into 3D and learn to be a 3D artist and stuff, and you want to learn Blender because it's free, but it is very in-depth and everything. This is what we're going to be doing here, covering everything so you end up knowing everything. Now, I'll just keep the cube there. Why not? Now, another thing that you're going to probably want to get into is splitting windows. And you see how I did that? Up here, I just put my go up in the corner of a window. You get that plus sign, and you left click and drag. That's all you do. And every time you do that, you're gonna drag in. And these are scalable. You can click right there and change them, make it bigger or smaller, just like you can any window, pretty much. And you can change views. You can make an image editor, video sequencer. We can go back down here and do the same thing to this one and split this into two and change it into a graph editor. You know, and we got a mess going on here. But you're going to see a lot of this. And the reason I bring this up is if someone sends you a blend file, or if you are taking another course, or you're watching the YouTube channel and you're a part of their Patreon, and you know they tell you, you know, you can download my blend file, you know, if you're a Patreon member and stuff. And when you open it, if you just double click on their blend file and open it in default, it's going to open the exact same way they had their Blender window and everything set up. And I've opened some blend files that are really elaborate. I mean, really, you know, detailed and in depth. You know, and a new person that does that, you know, is going to be lost because, you know, they're not going to know what's what and everything. And that's why I bring this up. And, you know, normally when you see these channels on YouTube that go over this interface and stuff, they just show you what I just did and leave it at that. You know, they don't go out and tell you, you know, how you might run into this or why you might run into a problem with this and everything. Because, you know, frankly, most people just stay with a default, you know, 3D view. But when you want to close these, well, in 3.0, all you do is go back to the corner, you know, any one of the corners, and click on it and move it up. You see how the dark gray went up to top? See, wherever I go, the dark gray is going to disappear. So, you know, if we come down here like this, and then I let my finger off the left mouse button, then this one's going to take over. Now, you see we got the playlist down here, but we got 3 windows on top of it. You can't, the windows have got to be even. See right here we got this one, all 3 of these windows are the same size. So we can take this one, we can go here and move it that way and collapse it. But we can't do that with this window down here. If we try to do that, then see, it's going to mess up. The animation window is going to go away, and both of these are going to come down. And it's not really the effect that you were looking to achieve. So that's why we got to do, you know, you learn this interface, and that's all there is basically to that, you know, to the interface. Just pull in one of the corners, and you get what you want. You know, this is what a lot of people do. They change it to the window they want. Maybe you want an image editor, and you want to edit an image, you know, or a UV map, you know, or whatever. Then once you're done, you click on it, move it over, get rid of it. And, you know, same, you know, we can move this back up. We lost our timeline a while ago, so we can move that back up to where it was. Excuse me. Open the window here. I'm working left-handed here, so long as you remember. So I did it again. There. Go back up here, open the timeline, get it a little bit more, like that. And now we're back to the way we had it. And this is all I wanted to get done on this was, you know, show you that interface moving. And, you know, you can right-click, you know, right-click like that, and you can vertical split, horizontal join. But I usually just use the, you know, go up in the top corner and pull it over and do it like that. And that's about it for this introduction. I just wanted to say that, and why we're going over Blender, you know, bit by bit, starting from the easy stuff and building up, and eventually, like I said, covering every tool, every setting, everything in Blender. But it's going to help you. You're not going to spend as much time on YouTube, you know, trying to track down, you know, what you're trying to learn or what you're trying to do and everything. We're going to cover it all right here. The interface, that's all I wanted to show right now for the interface. All the other interface stuff we'll go over as we go along. But basically, splitting the windows and joining them back were the main things you want to do. We'll go up, you know, and you can see how these up here, you know, you can see how these are split. This is for geometry. This is for compositing and how it's set up. And we got animation, you know, and you see there's different windows and everything set up for them, and it just gets you used, you know, to the whole setup. You know, and if you want to change them, you know how to do that now, and everything else. But anyway, that's what you can do. And since we're here, you can, if you want to follow along with mine, you can go up here, turn cavity on, and set it to screen, and have ridge and valley both 1.0, and that way your modeling and everything will look just like mine. And when you do that, go up here and click File, Default, and click on Save Default Setup. That way, every time you open Blender, however you have it, that's how it'll open. Like if I did it right now, this is how it would open up every time I open Blender. It would open up with this setting right here, with this cube in the middle. And that's why when I did mine, you know, I would delete this cube. I'd move that back to like that. Now, this is how I want it. You know, I don't want a cube in there. I want the grid to be in the center, kind of like that. Not perfect, but, and then once this is all set up the way you want it and how you want it to open every single time, then you go up here to File, go to Default, and then click on Save Default, and it'll ask you to save default file. You just click on it right there to save it. And that's about it for this video. We got 2 videos in one day. Woo! We're cooking with grease now. Alrighty. We'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you're having fun with Blender. Play around a little bit. Get in the Discord if you want. I'll put a link in the video description below. And we'll get started going more into depth, bit by bit. Catch you guys later.